up? Hey, surprise, surprise! More partner reveals coming for you.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited about these though, man. This is destined that Bernie was going to be here for a Cheyenne Bubenheim partner
Absolutely.
reveal. I mean,
Absolutely.
you're here pretty much every single week anyway.
She had to hold off. She had to hold off for a couple of weeks
Yeah, so
just
this
to
is gonna
be
be
on Monday
exciting.
night.
Yeah, so chat, we got two partner reveals for you guys today. Cheyenne Bubenheim and Ryan Windsor will reveal their 2024 partners. It's gonna be pretty exciting. I'm not sure if you've been watching the Bagging and Bragging show, but we've been doing three
Yeah.
every single week. I got people lined up for seems like 2 more months
You
getting
guys
into the
are
season.
you guys are making it happen.
Yeah, and I think we're actually going to start diving into the elite partner reveals in a little bit as well because now that actually matters, Brendan. We talked about it all last season. Why don't these pro partners throw with their pro partner more often at these
Yeah.
opens? So now for the elite players, it actually matters because they're trying to earn that pro card together.
Yep.
And I don't know if we found out probably till open like number 10 or 11 that there was a tournament of champions for all the open
Yeah.
players. So it's kind of interesting how that broke down because I believe was it Gavin and Ryan Smith were just kind of screwed, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But you and I talked about it, and it's one of the things that we're actually on the same page. I don't like. I think you should be playing with your pro partner. I like just extra bags can't hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
If they can't make it, perfectly fine.
Sure.
Yeah,
Understandable.
getting that routine. I mean, there's situations where like, hey, you remember that you accidentally did that bag back in November? That was cool. Do that again. But how are things going, man? Haven't talked to you in a while.
I know, dude. How you been? Just moved here. Down in Wilmington, down by the sea. So it's nice.
Yeah, I noticed that you finally have a background of some sort. You're trying to
different room, and not really. It's just a different room. We're trying to make this other bedroom into kind of an office. Mm-hmm. But I don't have anything on the walls. I don't have anything cool like you back there, man. You got it all.
Dude, I'm piecing it together, dude. I'm piecing it together. So it's gonna be funny. So we usually don't record Bagging and Bragging until Tuesday, right?
Right.
So we did partner recordings last Wednesday, and then again on Friday for our show coming up this Wednesday. So in that episode, you're gonna see me have 3 different backgrounds, 3 different shirts on, 3 different hats on. Like the episode was literally band-aid and pieced together. So not our best work, but again, we got to get the information to the people. But yeah, I'm actually gonna try and ball this thing out, man. We're gonna put some LED lights in behind me.
Look at you, man!
Disco ball up in the ceiling, dude. We're gonna.
See, the problem is Julie uses this office, so I can't just cornhole it up, and then she's got important calls to be on, and have all this stuff everywhere. So we're trying to. I need to find a way to get like a little green screen or something for these, and have a background that's kind of set up. I need to do that.
I got a green screen for sale, man.
That's portable.
Yeah, it
is. I'm so far away from the wall that I can't do it on the wall, so I'd have to have it set up right behind me. I don't know. We're trying to figure that out. Apparently, my microphone is really bad. Man. Is my microphone really bad? Is my sound
it's actually
awful?
Better than you've been in the past?
Huh? Because it's the same microphone. It's the same setup. It's just I got a message from Fred like, "Hey, I think it might be time for a new sound." It's not working real well. I was like, gosh, that's not good. It's the same.
Whenever Fred reaches out to you and tells you need to upgrade your equipment.
You are ruining things, but I've had to do a couple in the other room, which is essentially a kitchen living room kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it's always more hollow sounding because it's not carpet sound, it's completely different. So
that's one thing I got to figure out too, because right now I have a door in this room and I think it sounds pretty decent. But I'm just like, I don't trust the dogs all the time. And then I want to make sure that I have a controlled environment where I'm at. And I got this wide open window. Right now, the lighting's nice. But during the daytime, it's so bright.
Yeah.
You'll see it Wednesday. I have a big old glare on my face. And it's disgusting. So, yeah, we got to get this going. But I've been nonstop, man.
I bet. I mean, same thing for like when we do borderline. Like, all right, so what I'm staring at in front of me are windows. Mm-hmm. And so the light that comes in, like Jeff and I normally record – either late morning or early afternoon. So there's always going to be light coming in. Like you're saying, it completely changes everything. Even with the blinds drawn, it's completely different. But that's those are first world problems, right?
It really is. I'm sitting here looking at myself right now, and I got this new mount, so I can have the camera a little bit more face on. I'm just like, man, does my eye always do that? Like, is this what I normally look like when people see me in public? Like I had a lazy eye when I was a kid. I had surgery, but is it just like recessing and going back? I don't know.
I can't really tell. I found out I've got two. This is awful. Two styes on the inside of my eyelid on my left eye. Yeah. Never heard of such a thing.
My dad had that. Chat, by the way, is just like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
I mean, look, there's stuff that we could talk about that's pretty upsetting. I mean, it's been a bad, 7 days as far as people kind of leaving the game, and that really, really sad to hear about Jimmy and Jay. I mean, it's awful. I was thinking maybe we could save it till later to discuss it because we'll have, some time at the end of the show, I believe, to kind of kill. And that's just sad days, man. Sad days. It really is.
And the reason behind it too is what's making me a little bit kind of bummed out. I mean, we peaked too early, maybe with these contracts and stuff like that. Maybe spent a lot of money too quick, but I think that I thought things were heading in the right direction. Now it kind of seems like we're switching up a little bit.
I don't know, man. I think part of it is growing pains with the league, and then you got bag manufacturers trying to figure out still what's the best way to go about it for them, right? I mean, like it's all still kind of new. Yeah. And I think, I think they were making some great thoughts early with, getting certain players signed up, doing all that, but they don't really have the money to go deep necessarily. So it's, people are having to make real business decisions, and it's just hard. It's changed.
We had the voting for the bag switch and stuff like that in the offseason or during the season, and a lot of the players were against it. And I'm kind of sitting here thinking, like, man, this could have been the solution to some of these financial problems. If bag companies sell more bags, maybe they could afford to give you more money and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. It's just one of these things that you never really know what the right answer is until you're further down the road. I just hope that it all kind of evens itself back out, whether it's a little bit lower for the top tier people, or we do figure out a way to get the return on investment by maybe selling T-shirts and merch or something like that to get it back up.
And, you and I had conversations, whether it be on this show or on when we do live streams together, we were going to get to a point where it all becomes kind of business related, right? Mm-hmm. All this, all the friendships, all the kind of quote unquote family feel of the game is going to start to take a little bit of a back seat the farther we get along. And it's not intentional. I don't think anyone's like trying to hurt people or screw people over, but I think people are just having to make cold decisions based on dollars and cents, and it's tough because it's going to fundamentally change what we're used to as a sport, and it's hard when you're in the middle of that, because you lose. I mean, I think both situations are very different for those two, but it's still very rough.
Yeah, I definitely get it, and. Who knows, man? Who knows what the future's in store for? But I know that we need to take our first break, and when we come back, we will bring on Cheyenne and get to business. So see you guys here in just a little bit. All right, ACL Nation, welcome back in. Catching up with chat a little bit on the commercial break there. Everyone, man, they love to hate, don't they, Bernie?
What's everyone hating on now?
The ACL needs to do this, needs to do that.
Always,
Just,
always. I get it. I mean,
easy to spend somebody else's money.
It really is, especially the money that's. Yeah, I can't even get into that.
I feel like if everybody had like the actual ins and outs in the balance sheet, they'd be like, well, hold on, we can't do that now because this actually finally makes sense. But yeah, somebody in the chat was like, it's funny they had Cheyenne and Ryan on that commercial. We specifically made that commercial for Cheyenne and Ryan.
There you go.
We knew the reveal was coming today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on the best female cornhole player in the world, Cheyenne Bubenheim. What up? The world's worst whistle I've ever heard.
Yeah. This microphone's a little sensitive.
Don't tell Fred.
Okay.
What up, Cheyenne? How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Hanging in there, trying to manage this off season the best that we can, if there is such a thing. But we are having some fun. So let's go ahead and do. I don't know how you guys did it last week, Bernie, or the week before that, but I like to kind of recap the previous season.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's give Cheyenne a chance to talk about her season, this past 2022-2023 season.
So I would say my 2022-2023 season kind of started off a little bit slower than I'd like. Kind of picked things up at the end, switching partners and building that team chemistry all over again. So definitely didn't start as good as I would like to, but hopefully we're going to turn that around this season.
Now, do you feel like the partner switch, basically going into the season with a plan and then having to divert, do you think that played a factor in that season, or?
I wouldn't say it negatively. I do think it had a factor into it. Just switching up bags, because previously when I was playing with James, playing with the All Slide 2.0s, so that was kind of what I was used to, and then going back to Game Changers, which originally prior, a couple seasons ago when I wasn't signed by a bag company, I actually threw Game Changers, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but just switching back and forth.
All right, let me talk about the elephant in the room as far as a lot of this goes. So I've been I wonder how beneficial it is, because we've seen a lot of people change, and it seems to be I don't want to say partner loyalty, because that's the wrong way to put it, but do you feel at some point people are going to have to make a decision all right, this is my partner, and if it's a bad season, it's a bad season, but we're going to work our way through it and we're going to get better together? Or is it just easier sometimes to be like, you know what, this isn't working, we're going to move on. You want to go a certain direction, I want to go in a certain direction, so it's just better to fit. Or is just each person, each partnership just different?
I think it is different based on each partnership. Personally, I would definitely like to build that team chemistry with someone and keep it going. But, things work out better for other people. It's ultimately it is a business, and, you build those friendships, but you also do what's best for you.
Yeah. How many people did you throw with differently last season at opens and stuff like that? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't. I would only say a few different people.
Okay, I can't remember how many opens you traveled to. It seemed like I saw you at quite a few, but obviously we got another elephant in the room in the form of the baby on the way. So a lot of people are chatting on that one. I saw everybody gang up against our girl Maureen on Facebook. She voiced her opinion on what she thought was going to happen, and everybody jumped on her. But yeah, let's go ahead and kind of talk about that. What are your plans as far as travel, and how many opens and nationals and stuff like that with the baby on the way?
For now, I definitely plan on traveling to some of the first opens, definitely the ones I can drive to, because at a certain point you can't fly anymore. So then once at that point, I'll take a break and then get right back to it as soon as I can after having the baby.
Well, let's talk about the biggest question involved in all of this, and it's when are you going to let everyone know that Bernie Bubenheim will be the name of the child?
I don't know.
So we're gonna have Bernie Wooten and Bernie Bubenheim rolling around.
I'm bringing the name back, man. It went away about 60 years ago. I'm trying to bring it back.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make an executive decision here, Cheyenne, and say that's a no-go.
I mean, listen to the ring of that, Bernie Wooten. I mean, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into, we still got a few minutes here before we bring on your partner, but we got about 3 minutes. So go ahead and Cheyenne, talk about how things went last year with Frank, and ultimately why there's a switch this year and what's going on.
So I enjoyed playing with Frank. I think definitely at the end of the season, we started going up and then we started going down, which, happens. But I think ultimately the decision was what was best for both of us.
I mean, you guys had the shootout. That was a strong tournament entirely. That you guys dominated that whole entire weekend. So I remember at the time we were all kind of looking at each other as commentators and analysts and thinking, this team can't be stopped. You got to find a way. Frank, he's one of the best, open or male players on the planet. And then you got Cheyenne, the best female. And it's just, your guys' game was so, I guess, simplistically difficult in a way that you guys would just go right down the middle. And if anything in your way, we just push right through it. So it's really hard to play against and defend, because I think you guys are two of the best, pushers and players in the game. But ultimately, like you said, in this game, you got so many ups and so many downs and just kind of fell off. But I actually thought you guys did better than I thought you would be. No disrespect.
No,
you know how I am.
Yeah. But Cheyenne, do you feel like there's certain ways, certain directions you want your game to go in? I mean, everyone kind of knows what your strengths are, but is there anything you're specifically working on for this next season? And is the partner change and your new partner kind of going to help you in that direction?
So I feel kind of stuck in my game, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like I've, almost mastered every shot that I have, but it's only getting me so far, So I'm definitely doing a lot of work in the off season here right before we get started going into the opens.
A lot of work, a lot of practice. That's all it's going to take, Bernie. So
that's all it takes.
I think I just want to see Bernie on the boards one time. So Cheyenne, will you play in an open with Bernie at one point?
It would be disadvantageous for Cheyenne to play with me in an open. It would take money out of her pocket, and we can't have that.
All right. Well, what was that?
It would be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, it would be a short one, unfortunately for you.
Hey, Tier 4 championship is still a championship, Bernie. I could see Bernie giving up 10s on the other side, Cheyenne picking up 12s.
Whoopsie.
All right, Chad, you guys have waited long enough. Let's go ahead and bring on Cheyenne's partner right after this. All right, chat, we're back. Of course, I had to tease into that commercial break, Bernie. It was only fitting.
I saw that. That was nice, Wally. Way to go. Except the mics were hot. I don't know. Did you get my message?
It wasn't mine. It was Cheyenne. I was like, how did Cheyenne even do that? Like, I don't know how to.
That's impressive. Cheyenne circumvented the whole system and kept her mic on.
Interesting. Luckily, she didn't say anything crazy.
Yeah, as far as you know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I only heard the giggle and then the click. So I don't know. Chat might have gotten away with it. What's that?
I was reading someone's comment. Bernard Bubenheim.
Oh,
Bernard, come on, that is my middle name. However.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Let's get to what everybody wants to know here. Cheyenne, the mic is yours. The floor is yours. Let us know who your 24 partner will be.
All right. For the 2024 season, I am happy to announce that I will be partnering with Jeremy Frazier.
Nice.
What's up?
What's up, buddy? I mean, I think at the beginning of the season, Bernie put Cheyenne on his top 5 players to watch list for like the first 3 months. And then finally we got across the point where it's like, hey, man, you're going to have to mix it up a little bit. People are getting kind of tired of hearing you talk about Cheyenne. And I think the very next Open, it was Jeremy and Cheyenne signing up to go play an Open together. So then I put them on my list.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's like, yes. So now we can do it for the entire season because everybody knows Jeremy's my guy. Cheyenne is his girl. But congratulations, Jeremy. Welcome in.
Thanks, man. I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to the season.
Yeah, so how have you enjoyed this off season, man? It's been pretty hectic, obviously, kind of searching around for partnerships, or kind of talk about how this one came to be.
So Cheyenne and I were talking just shortly after Worlds. We kind of figured it out pretty early. Just had to wait on some stuff before we were able to make it, announce. But no, the first couple weeks after Worlds, I didn't throw very much. Kind of took a couple weeks off after that long week, but ever since then, I've been throwing when I can.
Well, look, this question's actually for both of you guys. I think both of you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. And Cheyenne, I think for you, I mean, everyone knows who you are in the women's game, if you will. But I think there is that chip for you that you want to prove more. That you want to be a consistent top 20, top 15, maybe work your way into a top 10 player in the world. And Jeremy, you struck me as a person last season, another one of those players that made a jump. You never shy away from whoever you're playing with. Like we see it a lot of time with pros that are trying to make a name for themselves when they play some of the quote unquote named players. They either press a little bit or they get kind of intimidated by the name, and it kind of costs them a few rounds. I never got that sense from you, and you seem like a player that kind of wants to prove that you're one of the elites as well. And so, like, do you both feel like you have a little bit of that chip going into this season?
I know I definitely do. Like I said, I want to prove that I'm not just a top female in the game. I want to be up there in both singles and doubles.
Right. I'm kind of the same way. If I could get more consistent, because I feel like when I'm throwing good, I'm right up there with everybody else, but then I'll have like a month where I'm not the same person. But going into the season, I know I'm definitely going to practice a lot more and definitely going to work on my consistency a little bit.
All right. So one of the things that Chad always asks about, and of course I always ask about it as well, is what bags are we throwing and who's the main sponsor going to be? Do you guys have that ironed out yet?
Yep. So we're going to be throwing for all cornhole.
All right. Jeremy, breaking out the game changers, or you got something else in mind?
I do like the game changers. I used to throw them before I signed with Ultra. I used to throw them with KVB a little bit. I do like them, and I also like the All Slide 2.0s. So it just depends on board conditions and what we're both feeling comfortable with at the time.
Yeah. Have you got your hands on the Evos yet, or no?
Not yet. I'm waiting on them to get here. They should be here any day now.
Okay. All right, and then Cheyenne, you're gonna have to show him the ropes on how to roll the Evos and everything.
I don't know if I can show anyone how to do that.
You had like 1 or 2 rolls.
Exactly, rolls or.
So, all right, realistically, and I know you never want to put pressure on yourself and put expectations out there, but what would you two consider as a partnership? A finish that you would be happy with as far as a ranking at the end? Like if we're all of a sudden it's the end of August, end of August 2024, where would you like to see your rankings and what do you think is realistic for you guys?
I definitely think we could be a top 10 team for sure.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think top 10.
Top 10. Do you guys consider yourself doubles or singles players more?
I feel like I'm more of a singles player, but I definitely want to work on that and be a better doubles partner and build that chemistry with someone.
Jeremy?
I think I'm better at doubles, to be honest. I can get hot in singles and I made deep runs, but I enjoy playing doubles more. So
I mean, as far as when I watch players and teams play in doubles, I'm always curious as to, is one player just prefer being outside arm, inside arm? Do they prefer is there anything in that? Do you prefer what your matchup will be, or you just go with, hey, I like being on this side, let's just run with it this way, or can every match be different? Like, how do you guys like to approach that from a doubles perspective?
I personally like to pick like a inside or outside arm for that day. I can't tell you that before that day what it would be, but I think it's more of inside or outside arm more than a matchup.
So if you're just feeling it, you're just going to stay there pretty much?
Yeah.
Now, do you get to the boards early and like to warm up a lot, or do you just like to get there and kind of like to get right into the tournament?
I usually get to the tournaments like an hour before. I might not throw the entire hour, but I'll definitely throw, closer to the end of.
And I think last time we talked to you, you were on the show with me and Mish. You were talking about getting the food and the snacks and stuff like that down to a science. Do you think you figured that out?
Well, being pregnant, kind of. So you definitely have to have snacks at all times.
I guess that's true. All right, Jeremy, welcome back.
Yeah, Jeremy, did you hear my question?
Phone call, so I don't know what happened, but
no, I was asking the question, like, as a doubles player, do you prefer, like, all right, I want to be outside arm, I want to be inside arm, or I want this matchup, or like how do you like to approach it as a doubles player?
So for like the longest time, whenever I played with Dave, I was always on the inside. That's just what we always ran with. But whenever I played the shootout with Almanza, I was on the outside for like the first time, and I ended up winning. So now it's like I've kind of learned to adapt, and now it's just if she's going to be comfortable with something, then we'll talk about it and we'll just go from there. But I don't really have a preference as of right now.
Nice, I like it. Adaptability, love it. So, Jeremy, I know right there you can tell he's been getting some phone calls during the show. A lot of people have been bugging him the entire offseason, so the secret is finally out, Jeremy.
Right.
Congratulations to you and Cheyenne teaming up for this next season. I know I'm looking forward to it. I think I can speak for Bernie as well. So, best of luck to you guys.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck. All right, Chad. So that's our first partner reveal for the evening. Bernie, I'm stoked. I'm looking forward to it now.
Yeah, what do you think, man? I was going to get, because Jeremy's one of your guys. I love Jeremy too, but he's definitely one of your guys. I like that partnership, and I had no idea. I know a lot of people kind of know ahead of time. I actually had no idea, so that's actually fun for me.
I was going to ask you that too, because I had no idea, and we were recording with Michelle earlier, and she's like, "I know about it," and I was like, "Well, I talked to Cheyenne earlier today, and she didn't tell me." So I think she wants it to be a surprise at the moment. She wants to see my face, and I think she got the reaction that she wanted, because I am definitely stoked about it. But we got one more reveal for you guys. When we come back, we're going to bring on Ryan Windsor and talk about his season right after this. All right, ACL Nation, welcome back into another episode of ACL Live. We're going to keep these partner reveals coming. Bernie, that was a pretty good one right there with Cheyenne and Jeremy, but I feel like the chat is going to be pretty shocked and happy with this one as well, too.
All right.
So.
Hey, well, let me before we get to it, since we've got a little bit of time,
Mhm.
what do you feel? What do you feel there? What are the expectations for Cheyenne and Jeremy, especially with everything she's going through? With a pregnancy, how tough is that going to make it on them as a partnership? I mean, what do you feel like their expectations are?
Yeah. So last year, everyone got on me because I didn't put Cheyenne in my top 20, and then she finished 21st.
So you were right.
I was right. Okay. I never doubted Cheyenne's ability. I just thought there was a lot of talent that was out there. I mean, there were some players that were on the uptick. We saw early Cheyenne was trying to figure some things out with the different style of bags and stuff like that. And I just thought that she needed to. I mean, she even admitted to it. She needed just something else to kind of get her over that hump.
Right.
Now, with the off-season pairings that we're seeing right now, the doubles, yes, big names teaming up with big names. It's amazing on paper. I feel like everyone's at an even playing field now. I mean, obviously you got your. I mean, I don't know if they've announced KB and Eddie. I assume are running it back. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Right.
Justin Burton Jr. and Logan. I mean, Fisher and Gavin. You got only a few teams in the top 10 that are sticking together. So I think that kind of evens it out for the rest of the field. So top 10 for Cheyenne and Jeremy. I'd say yeah. I'm putting them right there around the 9-10 mark.
Yeah, I agree. They're going to be right there. I just worry, because depending on her pregnancy, hopefully in her case, it's awesome. She has no trouble, whatever. But that's not always the case, unfortunately. Yeah. So I think that's going to have a lot of play, especially early. And then, it's just going to be tough. But if they don't have any issues there health-wise, I agree. I think, and I like the pick of Jeremy because he's going to
he wants it.
He wants it. And I think it gives him an opportunity to get really deep in brackets and really cause some trouble. So
I'm looking forward to it. That's a good thing too about Cheyenne is that Cheyenne she's not content. She's never content.
Right.
So if she comes back and she realizes something's off, she's not just going to sit there and be content with that. She's going to grind her butt off until she gets to where she wants to be.
Yeah. And you and I've talked about it. I mean, she's missing one shot.
Yeah.
I mean, she's top 20, top 25 player. If she could add one more shot, a little bit more variety at the same level that she throws her other shots, then you're talking about a player that could maybe make that jump. And so it's going to be interesting, I think.
And I think that one shot is the bully.
Yeah.
Bully the bag out. Instead of driving through it, step out, bully it out. You're welcome.
I got you.
Solved you. Solved the whole situation for you, Cheyenne. All right, so let's go ahead and bring in our next guest, the poker sensation, the cornhole phenom. Ryan Windsor, what up, buddy?
Nice intro, Wally.
Yeah.
I was gonna go into the gaming with Rocket League right behind you, but I was like, no, he don't want this smoke.
This is my new gaming computer. I'm excited to get to work on it. How's it going, Bernie?
What's up, brother? Hey, man. You and I talked about this one other time. It may have been last year at this time when we were going through all of this, and I was kind of asking you, is any of that a distraction for you as a cornhole player? Or do you feel like it kind of helps you because it keeps your mind so sharp in other directions and it actually helps you focus when you're playing cornhole?
I think poker gives me a lot of many valuable life lessons. So I think it's really good for me mentally and physically. And it kind of gives me that escape from reality, I guess. A lot of people have their escape. Well, cornhole, I've been dedicating my life to cornhole for 10 years now, So it kind of feels like sometimes you just kind of go through the motions. I'm definitely not bored of it, because this is my career, this is my passion. But poker kind of gives me that kind of drive that I need, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain.
Is there really a way to practice for poker, though?
Yeah, I've been practicing poker for just as long as cornhole. I basically watch poker videos on YouTube, Poker Go, every single night for the past 10, 12 years. That's just how I learn, is just constantly watching videos, constantly engraving it in my brain every single day. That way, when I go to a tournament, I know I'm prepared because I've been putting in the work. I don't have cable. I haven't had cable in 5 years because all I do is watch poker.
Interesting. Jinx.
So much. So do you like record yourself and like practice your poker face or anything, or just to make sure?
I just watch the pros. I don't really. I think in cornhole it's good to record yourself and kind of learn from it to see where you're going wrong on your mechanics. But poker, you just have to replay the hands in your head and how you could play them differently. Like whenever you get knocked out of the tournament, you realize, oh, I should have went all in on the flop. I shouldn't have let it get to the river or whatever it may be. Just kind of live and learn, I guess.
Well, we asked Cheyenne earlier, this is kind of the same question. How would you assess your 2022-2023 season? Would you consider it a success? Would you say that, you've got some things to work on, you're really looking to improve this season? Like how would you look at last season?
That's a great question. I would say it was probably my worst year ever, but it was still a successful year in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because I won my state championship again. So I'm the back-to-back state champion, which is really important to me. I also won an Open out in Cali. I took down Devin Harbaugh, Fisher Hamilton, Kyle Malone, numerous others. So it was nice to win an Open. It was nice to win my state championship. And then I also had multiple ESPN broadcasts, multiple CBS broadcasts. I know I don't think I really won on the main stage, but just the fact that I got there multiple different times, at least, gives me that confidence I need, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would look at it and say 23 in singles, top 12 in doubles. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm happy. But I mean, I think that a lot of people look at you and see your name and they consider you a top 10, if not top 5 player in the world. So what is it that you're going to do to get back to that, as well as keeping the the poker and all the other stuff going?
Yeah, I believe I'm 6th of all time right now in ACL career titles. I've always been in the top 5, and this season I got bumped down to number 6, I believe, maybe number 7. I'm not quite sure, but it really sucks being bumped out of the top 5, knowing you're always in that top 5. So that kind of hurts, but that's what really motivates me and drives me, is knowing the fact that I'm still in the top 10 of ACL career titles of all time. I'm just outside the top 5. I'm right there. I have experience. I have confidence. I have a lot of changes this year. So a lot of things that I'm excited about and looking forward to.
Yeah, it's funny when you think about the game at your level. It's so different. I don't think people really understand it. I mean, even other pros, and let's say those pros exist kind of, from 150 down to 256. I don't think they really understand it. They probably do, but the average person that plays a ton of cornhole doesn't understand how small the margins are at the top. I mean, we're talking, it's a bag here, it's a bag there, it's a round here, it's a round there. It's not, even if the score looks a little lopsided, it's usually not it's still so very close. So, I mean, really, you finished where you finished, you could probably go back and look at the entire year and say, it's probably 20 rounds I'd like to have back. And if I had those 20 rounds back over an entire season in nationals, that's not that much in the grand scheme of things, and that would probably completely change where you're at. So it's like, how hard is that for you to know that it's like, all I have to do is just this little bit will take me so far? Is that hard to deal with in your head, or you're like, hey man, that's where I'm at, it's easy, I've just gotta kind of get a little bit more consistent?
No, that's a good analysis. It's kind of like baseball, it's not like one big thing. It's all those little things that add up to one. And, like what you were saying, just one little mistake can cost you this, one little mistake can cost you that. But I think it all comes down to is how much work you're putting in and how many tournaments you're going to, and I feel like I go to pretty much every tournament out there. I don't really take weekends off, and I'm constantly putting in the work. I'm constantly going to the tournaments. I'm constantly traveling. I've been to like 40 different states probably, and I'm not going to slow down and just stop. So I'm just going to keep going and keep putting in the work.
Nice. Love to hear that, man. I'm stoked for this season. I think that a lot of the players are playing with a chip on your shoulder. I mean, even though you're one of the greatest, it kind of sounds like you're playing with a chip on your shoulder as well. So With that being said, we're going to take one more commercial break, chat. When we come back, we're going to let Windsor introduce his partner for next season. We'll be right back. Muted. All right, chat. What up? Welcome back. I got too many mute buttons over here. I can push whatever I want. Welcome back. We're here for Ryan Windsor's partner reveal or Adam Deere's heroes reveal. I guess if we can say that in chat.
The dragon.
So Ryan, how have you enjoyed this off season, man? Has it been hectic, or are you just kind of enjoying every minute of it?
Things have been pretty calm. Hasn't really been hectic. I really like the off season, I guess, because towards the end of the season, you're in a different state every single weekend, so it feels good to just kind of sit back and relax for once.
Yeah, and then you get the vacation that's really, really fun for you at Spencer's, and you always seem to shine out there too. So back to the grind. Let's go ahead and, if you want to, I'm going to give the mic and the floor to you and go ahead and reveal your partner, man.
My partner next season is an absolute killer. His name is Matthew Creek Killer.
There it is. Let's go.
What up, man?
Nice.
Welcome in. So we kind of did a little prep before the show, Ryan, and I said, all right, we're going to try and get Creek Killer to talk for 8 minutes. He's like, oh, man, I don't know if I could do 8 minutes of talking. So be prepared to have the mic right back to you and talk quite a bit here. But congratulations, Matthew, man, landing one of the best. It was actually kind of interesting looking at the standings last year. Your guys' doubles and your guys' singles were like right there. You guys were lined up perfectly. So this is pretty much a nice little swap.
Yeah, I'm super excited to play with Windsor next season. Like, it seems like every decision he makes is like super smart, and I just want to follow what he does, and I know he'll do what's best for the team and everything.
Matt, go back in time a little bit if you can. You kind of burst on the scene a couple of years ago in Atlantic City, right? I mean, obviously the cornhole heads knew who you were, but as far as putting yourself on a national stage, you kind of burst on the scene. Did that make it kind of hard to live up to when you have a moment in time like that, where all of a sudden, hey, I'm playing among the elites, I'm on television? Did you find that kind of hard to live up to the expectations of that?
Yeah, but like at the same time, like you always got to adjust, and you got to, like in this game, you're going to have pressure, and you're going to have a lot of like people bringing you down basically. So you got to just like play through that.
Ignore the haters, he says.
Yeah.
We got a lot of those, Bernie, so we're going to have to start ignoring them.
Yeah, if I didn't ignore the haters, I would be in a mental institution, I think.
Yeah, so Matthew, in that last season and the season before that, man, obviously it's you see Matthew Creek-Killer, you automatically pair him with like Jacob Foreman, and it's kind of one of these things going into this offseason that's the same way as like you can't break them up, can you? But then like whenever I heard that you're throwing with Windsor, I'm just like, ooh, I like that. I really like that. I'm excited to see what that looks like on the stage, man. So kind of talk about your relationship with Jacob, and then how excited you are to kind of get at it with Windsor.
I mean, we didn't end on bad terms. Like Jacob's a great thrower, and like it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that like companies and stuff like that offers and stuff. Like I wouldn't just leave Jacob for no reason.
Yeah.
So like to play with Windsor, it's honestly an honor because he's one of the greatest to ever do it.
Thank you, Killer. I appreciate it.
Windsor's like, give me more. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go on. Stop it. But go on. All right. So what? All right. What? I asked this question of Cheyenne and Jeremy earlier in the show. Now that the world knows who you guys are playing together, what would you two, and both of you can answer this separately, what would you say? All right, what are my expectations for our team and myself this season? Like, is it top 20? Is it top 10 as a doubles team? Like, what is your realistic expectation for yourselves?
I would say, I like what Wally said earlier, how we kind of both finished the same in doubles and the same in singles. So we're already on the same frequency level. I would say, in my opinion, that my goal at least would be a top 5 team in the world, and then whatever happens in singles happens.
I like that. Top 5, you said?
Top 5. I like
top
it.
5 and single. Okay. I mean, I don't see why not. So I look at Creek-Killer's game, I think more of a role style. I think Windsor, you kind of mix and match based on what the situation is. Creek-Killer already talked about a little bit as far as you seem to make the right decisions, and you're aware of what you need to do. But what Creek-Killer are you going to try and take away from Windsor as far as a mental game goes? Are you going to try and look more strategic from him? Or are you going to try and limit your shot selection more?
Definitely more strategic, because like I feel like I'm going into a situation, I automatically think I'm going to roll when I know that's not the best decision that can be made. And I feel like he can steer me away from that decision and make it smarter.
Do you see that being the case, Windsor? Do you think he is roll first rather than strategic sometimes, or have you really kind of looked at his game that way?
I think it's more, in my opinion, it's kind of not really answering your question, but I think a lot of it comes down to is having fun and hanging out off the courts. It's like I've always really liked talking to Creek-Killer at tournaments, going out and having dinner with them and just hanging out with them. And I think that's a big part in choosing your partners. So I think we have a really good relationship off the courts, and then that will kind of transfer over into the decision making and all that on the courts.
Yeah, so really you don't have to build the relationship too much. It's already there. You just kind of got to, I guess, emphasize a little bit more.
Yeah, that just destroyed my question, by the way. That was literally my next question. Like, is that something that goes into choosing a partner? Is it about just someone's playing style? Is it the chemistry that you already have with someone on a friendship level? That just completely destroyed my question, so I'm out. I'm out.
I'll answer your question, Bernie, because there's something else I want to add to that.
Okay.
So as you can see, I have a gaming computer here. I'm into gaming. So Rocket League has always been like my best game, and I was always like the best Rocket League player. Tony Smith was really good. We were about even. I think I was slightly better. So I was like the best Rocket League player, but then I played this Creek-Killer guy over here, and I found out real quick that I'm no longer the best. So I think that plays another part in it as well, but he lives in like Cloud Creek or something, so his internet's a little laggy over there. So he needs to work on that a little bit.
Still got the dial up to. What's that?
If I could have fixed it, I would have fixed it already.
Yeah, some places are like that though, man. They just don't have the internet connection. But all right, so we'll get about 10 minutes. I'm ready for you guys. I'm ready to get the show on the road. I'll send you guys an invite and show you what's really up in the game. But no, I'm excited for looking out for this team this year, Bernie. I don't think top 5 is out of the realm. I think that the one thing I was kind of worried about was like how long it's going to take you guys to gel in the chemistry, but sounds like you guys are already well on your way there, man. So congratulations to you guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, fellas. I'm looking forward to it too. Do we get to do we already know their bag they're going to play with?
Don't go anywhere, guys. You're back. You're back.
Don't go anywhere. So,
Yeah.
so what,
Wally.
Yeah.
Wally went away. So what's
I
the
had
back
my trash
selection
talk
gonna be?
lined up where I was going to trash talk and run. That's how I do things. I trash talk and then I run. And now I got to face you guys again. So, all right, let's go ahead and reveal that part too, because we know chat's dying.
So bag selection. Since I'm with Matthew Creek Killer, we're deciding on throwing kill shots. I think that makes the most amount of sense to me.
Creek Killer shots. I like it.
That is awesome.
All right. And any particular bag in that line? Because, I mean, there's a lot of different options to go through with that roll style of play.
In my opinion, I really like the AK-47s and the Phantoms. Those are my two favorites.
Yeah, I love the AKs. You said the Phantoms for you?
Yeah, same thing. AK-47s and the Phantom.
All right. Looks like they got it all figured out. Creek Killer going to Slinkies? Ooh. Intriguing. All right. Well, then now I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. So we're going to take the next commercial break, and I'll talk some more trash when you guys are off the air.
Send me a Rocket League invite, Wally.
I can't hear you cutting out, man. But
send me
I can't hear you.
Send me a Rocket League invite.
All right. I'll see you guys in just a little bit. All right, chat. There you go. So Windsor, Creek Killer, Cheyenne, and Jeremy, two great teams coming at you in 2024. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Bernie, I'll end the show with a little recap. See you in a little bit.
Right on.
All right, ACL Nation, welcome back down the home stretch, the final 5.5 minutes of the show, Bernie. Then we get to go watch some football.
Yes, sir. Apparently loving the turnover machine that we've got at quarterback this season. It's awesome.
I didn't realize there's two games going on right now.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, I was like, I kind of dig it at the same time, but I'm sitting here looking at my fantasy team. I'm like, do something.
You know what? This is the same every year when I play fantasy. Like last year, I started 0-3, one of the worst teams offensively in the league. Finished in the top 3 with one of the top 2 offenses as far as points scored in the league, and then lose first round of playoffs. It doesn't matter if I'm playing with 12 people or 11 people that have never even heard of football, or if I'm playing with 11, 12 people that know everything about football. I will finish dead middle of the league. Every single time. It doesn't matter. It's crazy.
I usually hop in a lot of different leagues, kind of hedge my bets, and I end up pretty profitable by the end of the season. But it's just like, I have no idea about this season. I'm sitting here looking at my team right now. I'm projected to lose 125.27 to 126.01.
Yikesies. Well,
and I'm staring at the New York Giants defense at -1 point. I would have been better off not playing anybody. So I'm just like, anyway, yeah. So I can't figure out who to pair with who on my fantasy team, but let's go ahead and segue back in.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about these pairings that we've gotten so far? Not just
I,
today,
you
but
know
the
what?
season, man.
There's been a lot that I question a little bit. I love both of these pairings.
I do too.
I think both of these teams, and I like, Ryan's confidence. And I mean, once again, if you go back, I mean, it's not that many rounds. It's not that many bags that separate him from being what he would consider a great Ryan Windsor season, right? And I think Matthew Creekkiller has kind of established himself as a player in this league. And so I think they're dangerous, man. I really do.
Yeah, I kind of look at, Windsor the same way I kind of look at Tanner Halbert. Like, I think that they're both – elite names, and they got the skill set. They're just a couple bags away from just getting to the broadcast again. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm liking the pairing of Creekkiller and Windsor a little bit more than I like the pairing of Trzynski and Tanner. I just feel like we talked about the off the court stuff with the personalities and how they play video games and they mesh well and stuff like that. I don't really see that out of Creekkiller and Tanner. Like, I don't see Tanner going to the gym, lifting weights, and talking to Trzynski about how much they benched. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, that stuff matters. I think playing style is very different there. I mean, it's just an interesting pairing to me. But, I mean, they are professionals, and they are some of the best in the world at what they do. So something tells me they'll figure out a way to handle it. I mean, I'm curious for the Tony Smith, Mark Richards pairing.
Same.
Because the expectations there, I mean, not only our expectations and their expectations of each other, I think the pro division as a whole is looking at that going, man, that's a tough squad, but then that's a giant target.
Yeah, I think it could be scary if they get it clicking. I haven't really seen enough in Tony's mental side of the game to kind of hang around with Mark right now. You know what I mean? Like Mark and Phil had a different vibe. Like, they were on the same page. They didn't really have to do anything. Mark didn't really have to babysit Tony, or at times, and I'm wondering if he's going to have to do that with Tony whenever Tony has something just not going his way. Sometimes Tony will be like, "What?" I'm just so confused, and I'm wondering how that's going to affect Mark.
I agree with you, but I think that Mark's kind of a guy. He's almost like a coach, right? I mean, he kind of, that's his natural personality, and I think that actually, if there is someone, because I think Tony would. There's only a few people in the game that if Tony wasn't playing well, that Tony could look down and that guy be like, you got to stick with this. You got to try that. Like, where Tony would literally listen to them, right? Yeah. Like, honestly, like, be like, I'm paying attention to what this person's saying. And I think Mark's one of those guys. So it's an interesting pairing. And it's kind of going back a couple of years when you had the Matt guy, Jamie Graham, it's like, gosh, if we get both of their A games, who's going to beat them? I kind of feel that way with Mark and Tony. If we get both A+ games from those guys, can they be beaten?
Well, one thing I'm concerned about, and it's not even a bad thing, is you got Harbaugh and Malone, and then you got Mark and Tony, where they were the alphas of their team before, and I feel like they were like, it's my job to do a lot of the scoring. I'm in the driver's seat.
Right.
I want to see if they can just like let off the gas a little bit and be okay giving up 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got somebody on the other end who's more than capable of making up those 2 points.
Correct.
So I'm very curious to see how these teams kind of work together in the offseason. I love Ryan Trader and Alex Hicks. We got Hunter Thorne and Jackson. We got Jake and Sammy. Is it right, or say it backwards?
Jackson. Is it Jackson and Sammy?
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to all these little off-season transactions to see when exactly they start to click. I also want to see some other teams that have been together for a while and see how well they do now that they have the leg up and the experience thrown together. So I'm excited, man.
It's always a fun time of year, right? Like, because you don't know. Like, we can sit here and talk about it all day, but we're not really going to know until they start throwing down on the boards. And I think, the opens give everyone a chance, but if you're not playing with your partner, then we don't really know until we get to the Nationals, and that's next year.
That's a long way away.
So it's
a long ways away.
It's a long way away. So hopefully we get to see some folks in some opens kind of trying to hone their partnerships a little bit.
Yeah. Either way, no matter what, we're going to have fun like we always do. So we did it, Bernie. That's the end of the show, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate Cheyenne, Jeremy, Creekkiller, and Windsor. Before we head out, though, I do want to say thoughts and prayers with Shauna Foreman. Always, got in our thoughts. She's still battling stuff, trying to get out of the hospital and get back on track. So if you guys are the praying type, man, shoot some positive vibes in her directions. In the meantime, chat, I'm out. I'll see you guys.